A Birmingham woman has launched a new social media campaign aimed at reminding drivers that cyclists are people and not street furniture. It's raising awareness of the risks to those on bikes. More cars, of course, returning to the roads after lockdown. More Than a Cyclist is what it's called. It was launched after a fatal crash involving Joanne Ness's friend, and Joanne is with us on the show. Joanne, afternoon.
Hi there.
Just tell us about the campaign.
Well, the campaign is less of a finger-pointing exercise. It's more of a polite way of asking drivers, any motorists really that are on the roads with ourselves as cyclists, to just give us 2 metres. That's all we require. We're all there to share the roads. We've been giving people 2 metres in supermarkets for the last 18 months, and that's all we need. And actually the campaign is to humanise cyclists so that people see us as human beings, as family members, as friends, as loved ones. And every time we go on the road, we take our life in our hands. So it's really a polite way of asking anyone that's on the road, just give us some space and please don't hurt us.
Last year, I think something like 140 cyclists died on Britain's roads.
That's correct. 140, too many people really.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been anyone. We understand that cycling itself is a dangerous sport, and we do take our life in our hands in any mode of vehicle or transport that you're taking. But we really are very vulnerable, and a cyclist just cannot compete with a car whatsoever. And it's very simple. It may be that we're delaying you a little bit, but it might be 2 more minutes that you just have to sit behind us. Please just pass us when it's safe to do so, and that's all that we ask.
I know the latest government figures showed there was a 4% decrease in the number of cyclists killed in the last year, but that, the Department of Transport is saying, is down to the reduction in traffic during the pandemic. Now traffic's increasing, so there's an extra concern from your perspective that things could get worse again.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole drive is definitely about well-being, and the government really want us to embrace cycling. But my question is the infrastructure isn't there, and the infrastructure won't be there for such a long time. But we can't wait until that infrastructure is put in place to be able to just do the sport and the exercise that we love. Yes, there has been a decrease. Definitely in lockdown, in the first phase of lockdown, the roads were so quiet because we were asked to stay at home, and we were able to cycle on our own. Now we're almost back to what would be considered as a normal method of living. And for that, it's even more important that we get our message across.
And you cycle with Kings Heath Cycle Group. There's about 200 cycling enthusiasts within the group and the network. But I mentioned at the start that the reason you're doing this, or one of the principal reasons, is that there was an accident involving friends of yours. So what happened there?
Well, I don't know the full details, but there's been a couple of incidents, really. I mean, what came to I was also involved. My partner and I were involved in an incident with a car driver, and actually, luckily, we had 2 bystanders that filmed the incident.
Right.
And was reported to the police. The accident in question involved a good friend of mine and a chap actually I knew of. Unfortunately, Martin passed away at the scene, and my other friend James was critically, he was fighting for his life. Luckily, he has survived, but he does have life-changing injuries. And it was that really spurred me on to do something to make a change. I mean, where we live, we've got a huge network of cycling clubs. There are just generally throughout the country. I can only speak for where I am. Just our club alone has 200 members plus. But, in the local area, in Solihull, in Hockley Heath, in going over, just in the West Midlands, really, we've just got such a massive connection of clubs and cyclists that it's even more important now that these people have got lives, they are family members, they've got loved ones, and yet it's just a simple message, really. I don't want to see anyone hurt. I certainly don't want to put myself at risk, and I don't want to stop cycling just because the roads are dangerous.
When something like that happens to friends of yours, whenever you leave the house to get on your bike again, certainly for a time, you must be thinking, should I do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after the accident happened, it was November time. It was coming up to Christmas. I actually didn't go on the road for a good portion of last year. I bought an off-road bike and I cycled on the canal towpath. And every time I went on the road, I was very, very nervous. It does make you really think about your actions. But I just love cycling. And yes, of course, you're just taking your life into your hands every time, which is why, I mean, with everything is dangerous. That's why just please consider us when you're on the road, because you're in a car and we're not. It's just the same as if a child was looking to cross over the road. Years ago, we had the Think Bike campaign that was nationwide and it was on the television. And I really don't think that there isn't any campaign or advertising of this nature, which is why the campaign started, really. So I'm really glad as to where we've got to.
Yeah, More Than a Cyclist is the campaign launched by Joanne Ness. But the government have announced changes, haven't they, to the highway code, I think last month, that would prioritise walking and cycling. There are more cycle lanes. So are you encouraged by that?
Yeah, it's been long awaited, to be honest with you. I just hope that it does make a difference. It's great, and it's really encouraging to see that the pedestrians and cyclists are obviously at the top of that ladder. I just hope that now it does actually make a difference to those people.
Joanne, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.